the question about debt is very, very important for the African countries. We remember already that the outset of the independence period, Julius Nyerere of Tanzania raised the flag and warned the African countries, the emerging African countries and independent African countries about being indebted. Right? It is clear, it is simple. Right? The more indebted you are, the less but you are able to speak or say something. And then we have seen there is no need to go with a countless demonstration to prove that heavy debt has slowed down Africa political growth, economic growth, and social and even the cultural growth in India. So the question of the debt is important. If a few years ago there was the Jubilee movement, we remember that the push for the cancellation, right, of these debts, it was also a diplomatic effort being pushed in there, for instance. You understand? So why multilateralism becomes very important in here? It is because it allows the African country to diversify, right, their sources in terms of wherever they borrow, capitals for development projects here and there. It is very important. Maybe by having these access to different, plenty other banks, it will minimize to a certain extent the heavy reliance on these institutions, the Bretton Woods institution, which may also result in accumulating much more resources that will be put into development. Another thing is, again, we talked about fiscal austerity, how money is being spent. As we talked about that, we should also not cast a blind eye, if I may speak like that, on kleptocracy, illicit financial flows, and the bigger cap of corruption. That's where we come back to, I propose to come back to what I said earlier. If the African countries, if the African Union, if the regional economic communities can have to become strong elements to assert Africa's diplomacy at the global level, individually, the countries themselves have to put their houses in order. Because the countries, again, the strength of the regional economic community, the strength of the African Union, and the strength of any other inter-African agency is predicated on the political, economic strength of the African countries themselves. Therefore, when it comes to the issue of debts, when it comes to the issue of resources, where do we borrow and what do we use what we borrow to do?
Absolutely.
Do we exactly borrow what we said we went there to borrow? Gross example will be how COVID-19 funds were managed in the respective African countries, starting with Cameroon, for instance.
Sure.
Simple as that. Why is it that we have a project that can cost this, then you have a government that tells you that actually it costs that amount of money? And there are so many.
Not realized.
There you go, right? Or you have governments that send their ministers to go borrow money to develop national ID cards, for instance. And after that, 10 years after, the system is still not fixed. Where did the money go? And it ended, as we said in Senegal, the new government comes in and find out that there's a batch of loans that the previous government took that was not declared publicly. Where did the money go? So all of those things, again, contribute to weakening Africans' diplomacy. Simple as that. And therefore, the question of debt is important, and I believe that there are multiple ways we can actually or the African countries can work to reduce their reliance on debts, and even making sure that whatever they borrow is truly put to what they went in there to borrow the money for.